Pablo Picasso is charisma personified, and he will make this podcast the absolute sexiest motherfucker you have ever seen.
Yes, so sexy.
It's saucy.
I don't know.
Saucy.
Somehow
I
his
like
is good and
saucy.
yours is racist.
It's
What?
I don't know.
When-
That's the vibe I was
when
getting.
you are Pablo Picasso, like when you become Pablo, and you can say his name fast.
Do we also Pablo?
When you can say Pablo Picasso
Sorry,
without stuttering, you know you're a saucy.
Pablo. If I may call you Pablo.
Of course.
When you create podcasts, are they also in strange proportions? Like the woman has an eye that's slightly too large, or something like that.
I don't understand your question, but I'm so intrigued by you.
Oh.
What is this? What is this question? What is this question? How does it work?
I'm
He
just
is-
asking about
he
how
is
you
a-
create your art, Pablo podcast.
How do I create my art? I create my art by presence.
Oh.
I just exude charisma through the airwaves.
Do you remember when we watched
Nope.
Star Wars 9, Troy,
Mhm.
and Lando comes out of nowhere?
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like, Let's find out where you're from.
This is very much like Pablo Picasso.
Except not 80 years old.
Yeah, not 80 years old.
And I am not like so. I'm a little more woke, you know. I'm
Mm,
not just
okay.
like
Wow.
hey, let's find out. You know, I'm not like Lando. I'm Pablo Picasso
Let's find out with your consent, of course.
with full consent and
Obviously. And we
And
must establish a safe word beforehand.
always.
I'm starting to think that Pablo Picasso is pretty hot. I don't know.
Dude, fuck it. I'm over here
You
and I'm
don't
like,
have to think.
I'm wet.
You
I'm just so
vibe.
wet.
You just vibe.
Yeah,
just
it's
vibe.
gonna be really hard to do this podcast. I can't think.
Dude, I gotta go rub one out. in the
Listen,
bathroom.
I will
What
put
happened-
it. I will
what
put it
happened
away. I'll put it in my pocket. You know, for them.
What happened in this episode? I don't remember anymore.
Just you know, try to tone in the bag a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
So so we're at the podcast now.
Yeah.
Let's do this, boys. You know.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is Troy Brittingham.
You are Jeff.
I am Jeff, and D is with us today. Welcome back, sir.
Hello.
And we are here to finish something in our fucking lives. I know we started Ahsoka, and we didn't do the last episode. I don't think we ever did the last episode of Invincible either.
No.
Yeah.
But we are going to finish X-Men, goddammit. X-Men 97, part
it.
2 of our review.
We're doing it.
Here we fucking go, everyone. TB&J! TB&J! Guys, X-Men 97, holy fucking shit. Thumbs up, thumbs down, Troy.
Thumbs up.
Are you serious?
we're
Are you
doing-
sure?
Yeah,
We're
I
doing-
thought about it. I considered it. I think thumbs up.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
D, how you feeling about it?
Yeah, we're 6 through 7 or 6 through 10, right?
6 through 10, yes.
Yeah. So
The last thing we
it's-
covered was
it's a
the
thumbs up.
Genosha
It's
and-
a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a
most
thumbs
definitely
up? Are you
thumbs
sure
up.
about that?
Yeah. It's not as good as the first half. But it's.
I'll agree with that.
It's still a thumbs up for this, but it'll have a lower whatever.
We did numbers
letter
last time, didn't
Number
we?
rating, yeah. Our
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, it's a fucking thumbs up for me as well. So X-Men 97 as a whole took me completely off guard. I did not know what to expect from this show at all going into it. As I explained in our last episode, I was never a big X-Men kid growing up. That was more my brother's thing. I learned names and powers through osmosis through him, really. But this is my first real, diving into the X-Men, universe.
Yep.
Outside of the stupid Fox movies. Because most of them are trash.
We talked before are mostly stupid, but there's some pretty good ones in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they do fine with those. They add stuff to it. They take a lot of stuff away.
It's pretty
This-
2 good, 1 bad, 1.
Yeah. Yeah, they've yet to still, I think, put it together. This is probably the closest feel to what an X-Men
Mhm.
felt like, plus, with the what you would want from the added live action, moving images.
Yes,
I think I know what
that
you're
a comic
getting at,
book can't get to. But yeah, this is definitely really solid. But like, so here's my my thought on it, because like obviously it's really good, and rereading the reviews of the summaries and things like that, like I really just want to rewatch everything because it is really good, and I want to go through a little bit of the high points, but like the low points aren't so much low points. Like there's nothing like bad in it. There's nothing where I'm just like, ugh, like goofy. Like I mean, and sure, there's like maybe a little bit of ham-fisted or like where they gloss over things, and I do have some criticisms about maybe like the Phoenix stuff at the end.
Sure,
a little Deus Ex Machina situation.
Yeah.
Fan servicey and fine, but like it diminishes the threat of the Phoenix to a degree I'm not comfortable with. But that could just be like probably because it's just letting you simmer till it's ready to like pop off again. Because I could see them doing a lot, but the real fault that I see with it was just that it just could not meet the height of episode 5, which I'm not saying is something that it needs to do, but they may have overshot the bar a little much on that one, because I like it's an amazing 30 whatever minutes of television, 42 minutes. It's
absolutely, as you were telling us before the show started. Emmy submitted.
It's submitted,
for your consideration.
And Jesus Mary, if it doesn't at least get in the top contention.
What's it for? Is it just like cartoon? Or?
I don't know. I think best, and I don't know, but
I'll
it
take a
should
look at
be
that.
up for a lot of stuff because it had some great sound. It had like, but it was a height that like. I was waiting for something like it was all good and it was all that, but it wasn't that. And I'm like, okay, can you hit that once a season? I'm golden.
Yeah,
I'm
sure,
golden,
100%.
right? But like, I don't like. I feel like less than that is hard, and now it's got to be like everything like amped up. Everything's now like a really high episode, and it evens out a little bit on the overall rating. But I felt like overall, there was a bunch of 6s and 7s, in maybe a couple 8s thrown in there, and then one like 12, like on a 10-point scale. Like, and that's kind of where it's just like, oh, it skews the curve a good bit, but it's just that one episode, and I don't know if you can mimic that again because it had so much surprise and astonishment to it.
Yeah, it is. The episode title is "Remember It." That's the Genosha episode.
Remember.
Yeah, of course.
And it has been submitted for your consideration as an entry for Best Animated Series in the 2024 Primetime Emmys. So I gotta say I'm not super familiar with too many other animated series it'd be going up against. I guess Invincible is there.
Yeah,
but I can't see too many.
Is it just animated series? Is like
that's the category I believe.
Because I wonder because there's a lot of animated comedies, and I wonder, but if they go further in the comedy section than they do in the animated section.
Yeah, what else?
Like is animated more
Bad
for
Batch,
like
maybe, but I don't know. People like that series, but I don't know how good the last season is. I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big like Emmys guy. I'm not entirely.
I hear
sure.
it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. But I just
What, the Bad Batch?
Bad Batch. That's not gonna win an Emmy. That's not. No.
Oh no, it's not gonna win an Emmy. It won't be that.
No, I was just coming up with other stuff that came out this year.
Oh, okay. I thought you were coming up with like other Emmy.
And it's got to be
things.
television, right?
Yep.
Not necessarily.
Oh.
So, Hot Ones has been submitted for Best Talk Show.
Okay.
That's like a new one this year because they're like considering web-based formats as
right.
I think you just
prime
means
time.
that
Okay,
category.
so it could be web-based too.
It could be, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. Also, streaming service Dropout, which is like what College Humor is now.
Yeah.
They have submitted a couple shows as well for Emmy consideration.
Are they animated?
No.
I'm just
Dropout's different. But I was just elaborating.
Let's stay
on
on task.
The web-based submission for Emmy.
Oh, yeah. But back on track here. What's so some high points for you guys? What do you guys think?
Fucking. So I'll start. I do want to highlight your point that the first half of this season really did raise the bar considerably high. I feel like the second half of this season was trying to live up to the twist and shock value that was the Genosha episode, and it just didn't quite hit it, even though the finale is not bad at all. I truly enjoyed the 3-part finale. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it week to week, but seeing it all in one bite like I did, because I watched it over the weekend, was awesome.
Yeah.
But fucking Storm getting her powers back and fighting her inner demons was just awesome. And then the entire finale, finding out that fucking Magneto's not only alive, but he's just so full of rage, and rightfully so. X-Men does this awesome thing, in my opinion, where like even the bad guys like have a point, and it's like
Magneto's one of the best air quote bad guys of all time.
Absolutely.
The
he
bad
has
guys
a right to be pissed off. The man survived the Holocaust, and he's trying to just make the people like him just accepted in this world. Humanity keeps
He's one of my
fighting
favorite
them.
characters in any piece of fiction.
They're using very good villains in the sense that
Absolutely.
they are using Magneto as a go-between, Mr. Sinister as his best
the devil,
like
kinda.
the one
Kind
best
of.
part of that Phoenix thing that I was complaining about is that she dismantles his thing and like it takes away his stolen DNA and like how she and like that is cool, like and how his powers are just I think are better explained in this than I think I ever got from the comics.
Sure.
In the sense that like in just a few lines, which is one of the other strengths of the series, but I don't know how much that was the former showrunner. He has a lot of chiasmus use, which is just that thing that JFK does when he reverses the order of the sentence structure.
Oh, okay.
Like as a mere, like, country.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Yeah, she was like,
JFK
so
on this episode?
let them weather your mind, and like let them
Mind your
let
weather,
them
weather your mind.
let them mind your weather, sisters. Like let them weather your mind.
Yeah.
It's like he does that throughout, and like those really make the series. I mean, it's also not just that, because like this is the where I kind of look at it. I think the second half has way stronger per episode like strengths than does the first half. But
Sure, it's more episodic and with
episodic,
explosive
but
stuff.
but not like per episode, per capita episode. However, like total like episode 5 has so many like moments that you will remember from this series that like it's like such a, if you take it out, it's not as good. But the first couple episodes are really good. And that second episode is one of the best lines probably in the series, which is where he says, "I am trying to be better. Don't make me let you down."
Yeah.
And it's delivered awesome. And they have so many of those lines where these actors are killing it.
Absolutely.
It kind of works too because they try to hit this very like 90s sort of aesthetic too, where everybody's kind of cheesy, and then suddenly a line will pop out in the middle of kind of like this ball of cheese where you're like, oh my god, wait a minute,
Right.
we were, do you believe we was just talking about like
Yeah.
totally radical going shopping, like and
Yeah.
then suddenly somebody said this.
We need some retail therapy.
Yeah,
Let's
and-
go, Roberto.
And it's like followed up by like a pretty cool line. It's like it's like it catches you way more off guard than like a show that's
Which is
all the way through.
and it's a fucking steamy show, right? They nailed this about Chris Claremont's X-Men era, is that he's got some kink to him. All right, there's the reason why, like, there's a lot of leather early on with like I mean, all of these characters very scantily clad, very leather,
Yeah, every
whips
X-Men is
and
hot.
leather
Every-
kind of
yeah.
things. Lot of demons in shirts. Like it was just a very, but they really leaned into it. They, like Xavier and Lilandra were like, like those scenes were good. The scene the Shi'ar and those characters is cool because they are neat and usually ill utilized, and they did it fine here.
Yeah.
I liked I did like. I think some people thought it was cheesy, but I did like Professor Xavier's like demerits, like
I loved
and,
it.
I
and
like it
him
a
just
lot.
like saying like fuck this, I can control all of your minds.
Yeah.
like
Why are
And-
we fighting?
and, like-
Let me just fucking win the game
like
right now.
like listen, I'm holding back.
Yeah.
like and it's you know, he is a fucking badass. Like he is the guy. And people forget it, and it's cool to have him remember that. And I did
Mhm.
like which does finally come around to the end, but it's the first foreshadow of death. You guys stuck around for the after credit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Which I just learned on this podcast like 2 minutes ago that the guy they met in ancient Egypt
Yep.
is Apocalypse.
Yeah.
and Sabanu.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a thing. I just put
They,
it together
they,
reading the summary.
they do. They
yeah, I saw they were like,
think
oh
knew.
no, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh, is that a
dear.
person?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Is I think Beast gets the final line on that,
Yeah.
except for Apocalypse, who says so much death.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, if you know, you know. Well, I don't
I
know.
know.
I don't know what you want to know. Or,
I think
or
I
don't
know.
Do you
I think
get
I
it?
know.
Do you get it? What do you think?
I don't get it. I don't know Apocalypse. I don't know
Okay, so
Marvel
I
like
think
that.
he should just let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think
mean,
we'll- you're gonna spoil yourself.
I'm gonna guess Apocalypse is not a good guy.
No, I wouldn't call him that. No.
Cool. And he's like a bringer of the end times.
He's
Cool.
He's just another fan. He's Thanos Darkseid.
Yeah, he actually looks also.
He's
almost
exactly like
exactly
them.
Thanos.
I was gonna say he does look a bit like Thanos in these like pictures I'm looking
Yeah,
at.
Thanos,
Like,
Darkseid, and
I
and,
remember
Apocalypse
coming
are like,
across Thanos and
He's just
I was a
green
Marvel
instead
guy,
of purple.
so Thanos,
they're both kind
so
of
Thanos
bluish.
and Apocalypse were the first two I see, and I'm like, well, these guys are like the same. And then I saw Darkseid, and I'm like, oh, and this guy's they both were. I was like, they both did the same thing, like, but one is like like mutants, and yeah, the mutants have cool villains, is what it comes down to. They have good adversaries, and
people
like,
sleep
even
on
the
their
Shi'ar,
villains too.
Well, that's the thing is like even the Shi'ar. Again, some of the issue with them is that they're a little 80s cheesy, and I think that shows a little bit, but they also have some cool designs, so it's hard to choose what's not. But obviously people like James Gunn have made it work.
Yeah.
So but like fucking Gladiator is
I was about to say
is
you can't
fucking Superman.
You can't stick Gladiator in the show if Guardians of the Galaxy hasn't happened.
Yeah, like
however many
he's
years
like
prior.
he's literally Superman, and his only weakness is his own confidence that he can win.
Apocalypse?
No,
the guy with
Gladiator,
the
the-
mohawk.
Gladiator. Okay. I was gonna say that guy that the Empress lady, Lilandra, whatever.
mhm.
She was having a fight for her. Gladiator, I guess is his name. Fucking that guy could just rip apart everybody, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, he can take out everything. He's Superman.
He's just amazing.
He's Superman, but except for Kryptonite, it's his own confidence.
So I'm a little confused on some backstory here because they don't explain it in the show. So I just want a little help. So they went to the old X-Men base that had Shi'ar technology, so they're allies of the X-Men, kind of. But then like the Shi'ar that were in space with Xavier viewed him and Earth as lesser than.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm not losing anything here.
No, yeah, it's pretty much it. Like, so the only big backstory that comes out is that like they were in the whole Phoenix saga previously, and they that's when they like met each other, fell in love or whatever, and then when he was shot, they reached out to her because they were like, well, there's no way to save him, and they're like, well, wait a minute, the Shi'ar have like advanced technology, we should like figure it out. We should at least throw it out there. And they did, and they took him away. So
Okay.
he's been like healing there.
Okay, cool.
So that's why he's been gone, and they've kind of acted like he was dead because kind of what else do you say?
Yeah, he kind of is to them at this point.
And he could still be. So like, I mean, they could say that he went to death, but they did have that noble lie to be like, or he got killed and he's a good martyr, and it makes people a little more lenient to mutants.
Yeah, and then the UN released that bit and made people like, "Hey, mutants are liars."
Which, bringing it back around to the fucking second half here, they released that information, and that's what Bastion gets it. And I like the build up to that, and it was a little heartbreaking to see Nightcrawler in the opening credits, replacing Gambit.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And I love Nightcrawler.
And I do, and they really gave him a moment with the 3 swords and 9.
That was awesome.
And that's my high point of the second half, which is unfortunate because it's like episode 8 or something, or like 9 maybe.
I think
no, it's like
I think that one's
7.
7. It's the first
yeah.
part of that whole 3-parter.
So
So that'd be 8 then.
that was
7,
that those fights were cool.
No, it would
And-
be 8. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
I'm doing math wrong.
8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I'm doing
Yeah,
math
so it was
wrong.
8. It was definitely 8. And
You're so confidently incorrect. I was just gonna let it fly.
Listen, it is fine. We do not need to worry about the changes here.
Oh, Pablo Picasso.
It is Pablo Picasso. You will get it, okay? You not have to worry, all right? But I am replacing
I wanted-
D for
I
just
wanted
a
to
moment.
I wanted to
He
disagree with
is
D, and
going.
suddenly I can.
There's no disagreement here. All
Hmm.
right, so we are podcasting with Pablo Picasso and the TB&J.
and the
God, I
thing
just want to fuck him right now.
It is natural.
Do
It
I need to
is-
keep condoms in this room? Like,
It is always a good idea. Pablo Picasso is in the room.
Becoming less asexual by the second.
that was it. You weren't asexual. You just needed the
I
right
just needed
man.
Pablo.
You just needed Pablo.
Listen.
It's like how what James Bond movie was that where it's like
Oh
she
boy!
was gay
Oh,
until
oh
Bond.
man! Oh yeah! No, not that.
What was that? Pussy Galore or some shit.
Oh, you not need to be so raunchy.
Yeah. Well,
Pablo Picasso is even like so polite. He's like,
He's
oh,
woke,
There's no
yeah.
need for raunchy.
Yeah, there may be children listening, you know? We must be nice. I'm just kidding. Fuck that.
Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso throws down.
What do you think of problematic movies from the early '90s that may have used certain words that are no longer acceptable?
I mean, to each time there is a reason, and to each reason there is time.
Oh,
And time will give all meaning to everything.
he's a poet
I
too.
don't know what he said, but I agree with him.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't seem like he said anything, but it seemed profound either
He
way.
said nothing and everything all at the same time.
I think it was
is
mostly nothing,
a
but I still.
trait. It is a trait that only comes from the inside of your heart.
Mr. Picasso,
Yes.
who is your favorite X-Men?
I see. This is sad because it has always been Gambit.
Oh yeah,
It
Gambit.
has always been Gambit.
I say.
And it
Mon ami.
shattered my heart.
Oh,
Shattered my heart. But
oh.
it went out like a champion. Like a champion. I'm
Right.
sorry.
No. He's no. Listen. We're all about men being able to cry on this podcast. You're
Oh,
allowed
yeah,
to.
for sure.
You're allowed to swipe a tear. I know you're a very emotional person, Mr.
Yes,
Picasso.
yes, it was heartbreaking. This rogue dies of that. But this is about the second half. The second half, right? And that is we know
We
how
know.
how good the first half and how we
yes.
remember it as he was.
Remember.
Get it? Because remember, it's the name of the Genosha episode.
And it's
Yes.
also yeah.
and hey, see if I guess.
Oh, D's back.
Yeah. He wrote podcaster just rolls out of here quick.
He's got to go fuck
he's-
some more people. He's
We
just,
hate to see him leave,
he's-
but we
he's-
love to see him
He's
go.
sought after. He's very sought after.
Did you see that
so
ass?
his
Like
time
about
is.
to quarter off it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he could fill in for me for a little bit.
Mhm.
He's a good
I'll
super
fill
guest.
him in.
I mean, I.
Oh.
All right. I mean,
Alright.
calm down. Calm down.
It's a little
all right.
much.
He's left the building.
Take a cold
probably.
shower.
So yeah, those are high points for me. What do you guys think of the I don't know. The adamantium rip was weird.
It was a little rushed.
I
It was a
don't
little
understand,
rushed.
like
Yeah.
the ramifications of that.
It was
Yeah.
kind of a big moment in the comics, and they kind of were like, "This is a big moment in the comics," and just kind
So-
of threw it in there.
I didn't really understand what happened because it happened at the end of episode 9,
Mhm.
and then we don't see much of Wolverine at all in 10.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
Did Magneto rip the adamantium off his skeleton? Is it
Yeah,
gone?
yeah,
Which does happen in the comics. It's,
Yeah.
it's
So now
fatal.
he's back to bone
So-
claws?
yeah. So, but here's the thing: is like at that point in both the comics at both the comics at that time and in the show and all this stuff, he no one knew that.
Oh.
you was always assumed that they added the claws when they did the skeleton
Right.
shit. Like it was a weapon that they added.
Oh.
So they rip it from him, and you're like, fuck, Wolverine doesn't have fucking claws anymore. You're like, fuck, that sucks. Like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, his mutant healing factor like saved him, but he went like super feral, and but it amplified his healing factor, which is some reasoning to why early Wolverine in the like prior to this was usually categorized as like aging, and like any day now that healing factor is going to give out and you're not going to like that was where Chris Claremont was going, was that it was like
Well,
he was
before-
losing
Oh,
it,
shit,
losing
really?
it.
Before
and
any
then,
of this
and
was
then
also
after
like,
this he became invincible.
yeah, before any of this, like in the old X-Men comics, it was like Juggernaut kind of hit him through a wall, and it was like, oh, Wolverine's out for the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
And then he gets up later.
Yeah.
And like the movies, he gets
Yeah,
like
he's just
shot
not
and
dead.
blown up and cut in half.
Yeah,
and he
I
just,
was always under the assumption his healing factor was always just way better than that.
Yeah, because his introduction in 2000 is after that,
Mhm.
and he has.
But even that, the very
even
first
that was
movie,
very quick.
the
very quick.
The very first movie though, he does get shot in the head and he gets knocked out and he's down and
Yeah.
like and then
He's pretty reasonably taken out for at least temporary time.
and then hard cut to the Wolverine where he gets hit by a nuke.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, and he's just like, he's got like some burns that immediately go away. And he's
Yeah,
like, I guess
I
this guy can do anything.
That one I was like, all right, calm down. He heals quick. He's not fucking
Also-
No, I mean,
also
I don't
70
think that,
years
I don't.
before.
I think they actually portray it pretty well consistently in the comics. It seems like he can kind of
Yeah.
come back pretty quickly from anything.
Mhm.
I think both those cases are pretty. The nuke. I mean, yes, it's crazier to it, but a bullet to the head kills you just as fast. Otherwise,
Sure.
like it's
Sure.
not, if not faster. Yeah. So he got amplified out, and then eventually he kind of freaks out and pops the bone claws, which is a revelation to everyone.
Oh, okay.
So
it wasn't common knowledge back then.
it was not.
Okay, cool.
And so it's a revelation of Wolverine to like all of that, because you don't even have his origin at this point. You don't have that for like
Oh.
5 or 6 more years or 4
Does this
years.
Wolverine know his past?
No. This Wolverine is he doesn't know any of this shit.
Yeah, I was
And-
gonna say, assuming we're still direct continuation of the
Right, which
90s
is-
show,
Mhm.
they didn't do any Logan backstory in that.
it's not till about 2000 that they
2000, like in the real world.
in the real world 99 2000 somewhere around there 2001 that they
Sorry, Troy. I should have
'Cause
said Earth 616.
Joe Quesada
I don't
well
care.
they had the movie rights out. They knew the movie was out there, and Joe Quesada, the head of Marvel at the time, or head editor, was like, well, they're gonna fucking tell you his origin. They're gonna
Mhm.
fucking make up an origin for him.
So we got to do it first.
We have to do it. So he literally came out with like a 6-part series, like Origin, drawn by
Oh.
like some cool, and that's where it shows you like born in 1800, like whatever in
Canada, right? Yeah.
and he's actually, you're first led to believe it's the one kid because he's clearly, the other kid's sickly, and he's clearly
Oh.
fucking Wolverine.
I think I remember this.
But like then it's made more to be like, oh, that might actually be Sabretooth, and
Mhm.
that might actually be the bastard son of the farmer guy. And then he eventually gets some. You see why he falls in love with this girl who very clearly resembles Jean Grey, which explains his affinity for the redhead.
I mean, who can blame him, huh?
Yeah. So and that's basically it. Like, I mean, it's nothing special, but they tell you kind of where it all begins.
Okay.
And that is what led to the only really good part about Wolverine Origin, which is the opening credit
100%.
sequence.
Them running through every war, and then you go, "Wow, this movie's
Well,
gonna
that
be
would've
fucking
been-
sick."
Holy
And then,
shit, and then it was bad.
and it's really really bad.
Yeah.
Wow, that's I mean,
That covers it.
yeah.
God,
I do love Wolverine though. Like, who doesn't fucking love Wolverine?
I actually the one thing that I noticed towards the end of this, I'm like, they really don't have like 8 is kind of a Wolverine episode sometimes, but there's no Wolverine episode.
No.
Which
Which
I
is
appreciate
fine.
a lot.
Which is is good. They gave him the adamantium, and they set him up for a storyline the
Mhm.
following season, which is good.
This was
They
very
needed-
much them sitting down and going, There are other X-Men,
Well-
and they're all really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they put a good someone put a good spin on it where they said that there is they did the Cyclops Jean Wolverine triangle well because it was about Cyclops and Jean's relationship, and he's just from the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like him at the centerpiece and like them being the side. Like it's like no, it's their story, and like he's the problem. It's not
Right.
like him.
He
like
is not
Scott's
the protagonist
problem
most
to
of the
like
time.
this. It's not supposed to be like that.
He's
so-
actually usually the idiot that like messes up the plans,
Yeah.
but he's super cool, so it doesn't mess up that bad.
what makes X-Men and E7 and this and that name I don't okay like I get it, but I also am like like the number stuff is strange to me, but either way, what is neat about it is that makeup of the team, which is something that like I guess they do because we're gonna get these characters in this movie, and it's like, well, none of them have done any. No one's done a classic team, as far as I can remember. The closest thing you get to it is like Cable and Deadpool, like because that's a title, like
Sure.
and a cast. But like no X-Men movie, as far as I understand, has had a like recognized version of the X-Men team.
Yeah, even First Class
really?
doesn't do like Cyclops, Iceman, Beast.
No.
That's a good point. I
It-
haven't seen an Iceman
No one
ever.
He's in it.
he's in the first three,
He's in
yeah.
the first three.
episodes.
No, the first three. The first three.
Oh, he's
movies
not
are
in the
He's not in
comics.
the yeah.
Or the he's not
Series.
in the animated
Okay.
series. He's in like one episode or two episodes of the animated
You see
series
his
at the
picture a
beginning.
lot in the mansion. That's it.
It's fascinating. Why would they not put like the classic team up in there? That feels like
It's just because the classic team is usually like not the characters they want to do, because the whole premise of the original team is that they sucked.
Oh, really?
And the thing is that the and this is the other reason that it works. The X-Men works regardless of that. Like, I mean, technically, I guess they haven't done it with the Avengers either, because.
That's true.
But I'm trying to, because they're in there in Endgame. I'm pretty confident.
Mhm.
Like, but it's
you think
everybody.
so? Yeah.
Like, so it's like, yeah, you could kind of call like, because that kind of it is that everybody's an Avenger. There's like every hero, kind of comes together and is
Right.
Avengers
I mean, the
assemble.
original movie's like kind of close, but like Quicksilver and I think Wanda are in it a little
yeah,
bit earlier.
and Wasp isn't in it. But
Yeah,
it's pretty
Wasp
close.
is-
But it's
Wasp-
pretty close. I'm off track. The
For-
point is that the premise of
isn't about teams,
mutants
sorry.
works regardless, and you can mix and match the best personalities and powers and things that have ever existed, and put them in place.
And there's 9,000 of them,
Right.
and they're all cool. Somehow they've like made very few lame X-Men over the years.
Oh, there's plenty of lame X-Men.
well, gee,
That's
yeah,
actually
but,
what I'm saying is that like the first of all they change almost so obviously the Scott Summers evolves into a more hard-nosed hot Scott Summers, but
Mhm.
pretty consistent.
Sure.
Marvel Girl is the Phoenix. Angel's Archangel.
Mhm.
Beast becomes Blue, and a Beast, and Iceman. They don't use his character much.
Yeah.
Like his comic relief element from the original series is kind of replaced by 10 other characters by that
Yeah,
point.
he's Morph in this one. He would be.
Yeah, and then the other side of it is that his powers could be like Omega level, and then it just doesn't work with his character base, and it's like he just becomes blah. So he's kind of a wasted character because his character base, unless you like, what's cool is his power and not his character.
Yeah.
Like, so it's you're like shit. So it makes sense unless you do something to him interesting. But they haven't done any of those things, so they just make this base. But I like this makeup. It's pretty solid. What I am wondering is if they'll ever do a version of Shadowcat, because I don't think you can. They might be able to retcon something, but they will not be able to do the storylines consistent with Shadowcat's character, and her character is generally taken by Jubilee in this version. So you kind of never see one of the reasons why so many guys like X-Men is because of Shadowcat. I promise you. Like guys who read comics, like, and I missed this. I was the 90s generation, so like this is the 80 people like before me, but they'll be like head to toe, like, oh, I had a crush on Shadowcat. Like she was like the point of, she was like, oh my gosh, like a young little cute girl that's like with the X-Men, like, like, you know.
Yeah, it's a reason why in the comics it's Days of Futures Past is
right.
Kitty and not.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
I was gonna say, is Shadowcat Kitty Pryde?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I knew Kitty Pryde. I knew
right.
that name.
Yeah, well, Kitty Pryde's her real name. They
I
almost
see.
always call her that, and then Shadowcat is her actual superhero name, which doesn't get used that much, actually.
It's her coolest name and the one that stuck the most, but she had like 7 or 8 names.
Yeah.
Sprite. I can't think of any others.
She does have more, but I can't think of more either.
Yeah.
Sure.
Gesundheit.
Is that real?
It means bless you.
Well, I know. For some reason,
Like the
believed
spirit
you.
be with you.
I don't know why I believed you on that one.
I don't know why either, man. You just like fell for it, hook, line, and
Yeah.
sinker.
Well, I'm stupid.
I don't know. I feel like there was another German word. There was.
It's all good.
But yeah, all right, do we want to get to final
So
ratings or do we have other things to say?
I did like how do we feel about Bastion as like the main bad guy?
So I fine, really.
I like parts of him.
It all kind of made
Ha!
sense.
Because
he's
that
a
wasn't
techno-
intentional, but it is now.
Because he's a technomancer, or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck they called him.
I like
Technokinesis.
I like a lot of the sort of like political analogies of him always being like a Q, like internet forum kind of.
I
bring a
loved
bunch
that when
of-
he was like,
yeah.
"Oh, these people on the forums that hate the
Mhm.
mutants, they just volunteered, and I'm turning
Yeah,
them into
they will-
secret weapons."
They will literally want to be mindless killing machines rather than be replaced by mutants.
Which fucking was it Gambit, I think, or maybe it was Roberto who had the point where it was like, great, so like these people, even if they're not under Bastion, like they still hate mutants. What do we do with them?
Mhm.
And then Cyclops just waves it away like, oh, we will embrace them and everything will be great. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They wanted to annihilate you.
Which brings me to another point of I like how Xavier sometimes is like, yeah, this is all great and we're gonna be fine and everybody's gonna love mutants if we just accept them enough. And
Why
like, and then
can't we
there's
be
1,000 people trying to kill them in the moment, and you're like, man, I want to believe you. Man, I know you're the good guy in
But
this.
that's what they do. That is what
This is-
X-Men
this
does,
is
and it
why
makes
Magneto
it makes you love Magneto that much more.
But I liked Bastion in that sense. I like him when he's just sort of like.
Would you say you're a Bastion main?
No.
Oh.
Never. I would never say that.
You don't like camping the point?
Bastion
I would
simp.
never say that.
Bastion simp.
Bastion. Well, I was going for a very specific joke that Troy
Yeah.
got, but I like you better as a Bastion simp.
I like his whole kind of like him crying over his mom. I like it when he I like sort of his emotional moments with his mom and stuff. Towards the end, when he like had wings and he was kind of this invincible guy who can't.
Oh
be
yeah, that was
stopped.
really fucking weird.
I don't think it's weird,
Okay,
but it's
so
he's another guy
He
who's
took Cable's arm and upgraded.
So I think
You do, huh?
somehow that Cable's arm is a result of the technovirus that he was given by
Mhm.
Mr. Sinister, which was given to him by Bastion's or the original Nimrod,
Mhm.
and it's actually kind of a part of him already.
Oh,
is kind of how I read that, which was not like
See, this
easy
is
on the page, but like but that's in this.
Right, he, like, upgraded
that's in
himself
this,
from the
but that's
future,
all told in episode like 2 or 3, like when
yeah,
the baby comes.
I followed that enough.
episode
But
3.
like, as soon as comics start jumping around in time and timelines, I start checking out. And that's why I really fell off reading comics as a kid.
Good luck
And
with
I
next
know,
year's
I know.
ideas.
That was gonna say,
I hate to
that's-
break it to you.
That's like that's gonna be my biggest complaint
I
about
am.
the series. is
I
that they ended
am
with, like,
really
time stuff.
hoping that this has. There's no way that you don't get Age of Apocalypse because of this.
They literally introduced the man.
But there's a lot of so I don't know how they'll do this. because there's a lot of ways. I think a cool way to do it is to kind of start where we left off. If we want to kind of speculate for, the final.
Yeah. I don't know if there's much else we can say about the show itself, but I'm happy to speculate.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that they're obviously lost in time and they're playing around with that, which leads me to believe that like that and messing that up somehow leads them to the Age of Apocalypse. Maybe for a one-off episode, maybe for extended, maybe it ends there, and it's like a 3-part ender. Maybe they have a 3-parter in the beginning, and it's right there at the beginning.
They could, yeah.
Which I think would be neat because you'd kind of get Gambit back, you'd get this stuff, and then it would be whatever, kind of a tease. But what they're leaning on with the end credit there and the reference to that is a different storyline entirely. So I'm wondering how those will mesh, and I think it's very easy to do, but it really depends on kind of how they're going to play it. So
yeah, and they've kind of meshed a few storylines within this season, kind of mangle them together.
And I really like how they've stayed kind of true to a lot of the heart of it, if not kind of like the particulars of where they're fighting or what, who's fighting what at which time, but they're kind of hitting the same beats that they had, so that works. But like with the things I'm talking about, it's like I don't know if you could hit those same beats because they'd be like entirely different kind of characters in alternate. Like it doesn't. So you can only do one at a time, is what I'm kind of saying. And if they were to mish, and that's kind of it is like if they were to mash those, I don't know what I'd think.
Yeah,
like I'd be, but there are positives and negatives to both those things. It's just that I think what they've done well is like kind of show you that version of the character. They showed you Magneto with the fucking M on his shirt, like that version of Magneto, and they showed you the
sleeveless hunk.
Yeah,
dude, he's so hunky.
He is just like hitting the gym.
Dude, that man just eats, sleeps, and breathes protein and creatine.
That's what Pablo Picasso looks like underneath.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, dude.
With like the flowing gray hair.
He's like fucking Ned Flanders when he takes off his or
stupid
the
sexy Flanders.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
He's also weirdly like kind of oiled up most of the time, but he never does. He never puts anything on.
Yeah.
Like he's pretty like
he's always ready
shiny,
to go, but you never see
but
him.
he has like some hair to him.
He reminds me of the wolf from the Pulp Fiction.
A
little bit like that, but like stronger, more powerful than Harvey Keitel.
Right.
Like obviously more virile and dashing.
Right.
I don't know. Is dashing right?
This perfect man is what you would call him.
I mean, I don't want to say that.
So
he does
good.
kind of glow though.
Yeah, right?
Like I feel better when he's around.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
Like he shows up and I just feel safer. I just feel better.
Yeah, I feel very safe. I mean, I don't think I can't even imagine someone fucking with Pablo.
No.
Right.
Like,
he could kill you, but he absolutely
that would never happen. Like
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ever been hurt in his presence.
I don't think so.
Never. He's just
But there have been people who've been defended in his presence. Which is weird too.
It's just so hard. Yeah, like if like a stray baseball or something.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine like just sort of errant.
He will catch that stray baseball and not spill his beer.
Yeah. He's pretty observant.
He's a really good guy, that Pablo.
And humble too.
So humble.
Yeah.
Guys, this is probably one of the thirstier episodes we've ever done, and it's about
a character he made up.
Yeah, a character that was made up. No.
Oh,
Pablo's
the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yes, it was about the X-Men.
Yeah.
Sure. I like that D tried to deflect it. It was like Shadowcat. Yeah, that made men horny back in the 70s and 80s.
But Pablo.
And then we were like, nah, Pablo. Let's go back to Pablo.
Yeah.
You know what can I bring it back to the episodes one more time real quick? Okay.
Please do.
Maybe. It's a little sloppy.
Will you allow it?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
I did have a revelation towards the end of this. And it was
The Book of Revelations?
Yes, I read the Bible.
Wow.
And I'm a born again Christian.
Neat.
I will get I will get so annoying on this podcast.
Oh, I guess you're a specific gender now, though. You gotta be one.
Yeah, I have to pick one.
You gotta pick one.
Otherwise, they won't let you in the club.
Yeah,
And you gotta fuck You gotta fuck.
I do, but not before marriage.
So just never get married. Cheat code.
That's not good either, though. That's not allowed either. But no, I have something to say about X-Men.
You should probably become a priest then.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's probably the answer. Only answer.
I'll think about it. No, but we have talked a lot about different shows, and I'm noticing how much leeway I give other shows that have like this 30-minute format. Where there's a lot of times where, like, especially like a Star Wars show or something, where we'll be like, yeah, they did it in like 30 minutes. I understand why this is kind of like an episodic, like not a lot happens in this. And I'm kind of realizing off of this one, like there's episodes of this, I think 8 or 9 has like, I think it's 8, has like 3 or 4 different kind of arenas of people doing different huge fight scenes all at the same time.
Yup.
There's a lot going on.
And there's like, and it's like within a 34-minute time frame, there's like drama happening. They lean into like X-Men as like a soap opera kind of thing that they never do before in other media. There's like action going on in other scenes. There's like a full character arc kind of wrapping up in this other scene. And I'm like,
they're setting something up in another scene.
The entire time I'm sitting there, I'm just like, maybe everyone did kind of suck. It's like, I was like, maybe they were like, it's like things that I previous was like, that's not that bad. I'm like,
yeah, it
Boba
makes
Fett could have done more.
Rethink some of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. But one thing I try to keep in mind as I go into every review we do is to judge the individual media on its own merits and not try to compare it to other things we've seen.
I kind of agree with that.
Like,
but
X-Men did a lot of heavy lifting in very small amount of time, but I don't want their excellence to deter from anything else being good.
I'm also hitting like the idiot take of just like, why not just make every show and movie good? Which is like, well if they could do that, then they would do that.
Yeah, if they could do that, they would. Hollywood's been trying for 100+ years. They're working on it.
Sometimes they just try to make things that are cheap.
Yeah.
Turns out those are the ones that aren't good.
No, for sure.
It's weird.
For sure. All right, are we ready to do, you were doing numbers last time, right, D? We did out of 10.
Yeah.
It was out of 10, and we allowed a single decimal place, correct? So you could do like a 7.
Do we know what my last score was?
D, if memory serves, you gave it a 9.3. Troy, you were a 9.0. How you guys feeling about 6?
What did you give it?
I was probably a little more favorable than you, if memory serves. I think it was like
You're
a
like 10.
9.5,
You were like
9.4.
10, I think.
You
probably were just like 10.
It's
like that's you.
As a reviewer, I'm terrible. I'm so prone to recency bias, and I'm like, I just
Best
saw this
thing I've ever
amazing
seen.
thing. It's like a fucking 11. I'm just the worst.
You
To be
are.
fair, if you overrate anything, I feel like this is a pretty good one to overrate.
Yeah, sure.
No,
sure.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like with that episode 5 that you had like literally just seen, so it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, the little technical difficulty.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go first.
All right, Troy, you're first.
Back half is weaker than the front half.
As we've discussed.
Yeah,
I think
I don't
only
know.
really by a little bit. I'm gonna go 8.7.
8.7. That's your
Yeah.
final answer.
I think so.
All right, I will go next. I'll save D for last. D is the diehard X-Men fan of the group. I am probably gonna go a solid 9.0.
Okay.
I don't believe the second half was as weak as the first half necessarily, or weaker than the first half too much.
It's
The
not. It's like a
finale-
weird one. It's like not weaker, but it's not stronger.
Right, Genosha is clearly like
different.
the
It's very different.
the height of the season.
Yeah.
However, that 3-part finale was really, really good. It was not bad in any way. I
also
agree.
like 7 a lot.
I agree with a couple drawbacks that D had, especially with like Phoenix coming out of nowhere to save the day in a very Deus Ex Machina way. I was
and
like,
then just
meh.
disappearing.
And then
like that's the
Jean
big
just waves
thing.
it away like,
Oh,
Phoenix
it's gone
is gone.
now.
I can't tap into it again.
It's just an easy thing that comes out of me at the
It's
perfect
like
time
a-
and fixes everything for just a second, and then we can't use it again.
Troy, it's like the fucking Avatar state when we watched Avatar: The Last
Mhm.
Airbender as kids. Like, it just it saved the day when it needed to, but then it was like, no, it's gone.
Yep.
In the first couple seasons, anyway. But yeah, I'm sitting at a 9.0. Finale was great. Whenever you add time travel into comics, I start checking out. However, it seems like X-Men is doing their best to keep it simpler. They only have they have Jean and Scott in the future with child Nathan, and they have everybody else in the past with younger Apocalypse in ancient Egypt. And it doesn't seem like they're splitting everybody up too much beyond that. But like, if it gets a little bit too complicated without like giving me the breadcrumbs to follow, I may just lose interest. I hate.
There is a lot of time travel in X-Men.
I know there's a lot of time travel, but when you start having like people in different timelines and different years that I need to keep track of, I start losing all focus. But
I mean,
sitting at
Bishop
a
and Cable are specifically the time travel guys.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, as much as I said about the Phoenix, I could also say that they could make it good. Like one of the things that they've been doing is kind of retooling like some cheesier villains like Bastion, in all honesty, and trying to make those storylines more, action packed and efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could kind of revamp and go back and look at those Phoenix moments and like, well, how did the Phoenix get there? And my guess is that like, in her last moments of whatever, cries out to the Phoenix, which Brian as a former host or favorite host that she was attached to at one point, reconnects with her, right? And agrees to help him out in this, and of course.
So the Phoenix is a separate entity that
lived
within Jean?
It was it's a space. It's like a celestial, like cosmic entity that like is like the balance of like.
I'm learning more and more.
Life.
I have no idea.
It's like the spirit of life and death and rebirth. Like it's like in the Marvel universe. It's like a super entity. It's like can create and end life, like kind of stuff. So it's like all powerful. And the thing is, though, is it like just kind of comes in and does that. I could see them kind of going back to that moment of like her asking for it and agreeing to it, and then like that happening again, and then the Phoenix being like, "I am not your like thing to call upon," like and it becoming more of an issue again. So I could see them making like, and that's something that you want to look for in some of the media, like consequences. And that's what I think, like, the complaint here is that, like, that was, like, a consequenceless Deus Ex Machina that, like, if you make it count, okay, that can... So I think, like, there's promise. And honestly, if I give him my... Did you give your rating yet?
I did. I was a 9.0.
Okay. I think, yeah. So, It is hard. It is hard. I'm feeling 9-1.
Okay.
9-1 because I do like.
Funny enough, 9-1. If we average all of our scores across both halves, is the average for the series as a whole, according to the TB&J podcast.
Oh, 9-1. No.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair number for this.
I do as well. It's an excellent show. It's not perfect, but it's damn fucking close.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And even setting aside all of the beautiful, delicious nostalgia I got as soon as that fucking title screen rolled.
One of the best intros of all time.
So good. Never skipped it.
Oh, never. It's a banger.
No.
Yeah, why would you?
I actually once accidentally started the wrong... I started the wrong episode once, and I watched the entire intro, and then was like, oh, this is the wrong episode. And then I started the correct episode, and I watched it all again.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
It's a never skip.
Mm-hmm. It's so fucking
It's a never
good.
skip. There's not a lot of those anymore.
So good. Love it.
So
So 9.1 for X-Men 97 Season 1. I'm pretty stoked for Season 2. No word on it yet, but it's coming. It's an animated show. It's going to take a little while.
I am here. I heard the magic word.
Oh, you heard come? Coming soon?
Yes, this is how you
Coming
summon.
soon is how you summon.
This is how you summon Pablo
Podcasto.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be really hard to have a general conversation that doesn't end in coming soon.
It is at my sole discretion.
Oh, yes. Speaking
But
of
if
coming
I
soon,
hear it,
speaking of coming soon, you
I get
guys,
just as easily.
we are 3.5 weeks away from The Boys.
Yeah.
It is right around the corner.
Yes,
It is so fucking close. They're starting to do
I
fucking
have
Instagram ads at me.
prior engagement on the night of the release.
Oh.
But
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
menage a trois, if you will.
Oh, cool.
Just a couple of friends getting together.
Heavens to Betsy.
Two friends.
That's totally fine.
Yes.
But we will get together very shortly after June 13th for anybody who needs a reminder on the boys.
That is the day before June 14th, which is also known.
Oh,
that
yes.
is
the 14th
that
of June.
that is one.
But
yes.
many days later, there will be the 19th of June, which is known as Juneteenth.
and my mom's birthday.
That's also like Father's Day, isn't it?
16th.
16th. Yeah, tomato.
19th's my mom's birthday.
Oh, I didn't ask.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Also, I think this weekend is Furiosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is a sexy woman.
And
did you see the IGN review for that?
no.
They gave it a 10.
Oh.
Out of how many?
10.
That is amazing.
It's
And
literally
listen,
perfect.
It's a good.
That is clearly a perfect score.
It was also a good sign that everybody who filmed it seemingly hated it. So
Wow.
which is every Mad Max movie. So it's a good sign.
yes.
I don't think I've ever heard a good story about
Pain.
making
No,
a Mad Max
everybody
movie.
everybody
Pain.
hates filming every single one of those because it's like them
Except
just,
George Miller.
It's just them being in the desert. Just he hated the first one a lot. He almost quit filmmaking after the first one, which is his first movie.
And then he made so much money, he was like, no, wait, hang on.
No, actually, so apparently, I forget who was talking to him, but another director was basically like, he's like, yeah, I hated this. I had so much like stress and everything went wrong. And then we fixed those problems and it caused more problems.
Oh,
And
no.
at one point somebody got hurt on like their way back home in the car and he got hit. They got hit or something like that. And he's like, and I didn't want to deal with that.
This is a
and,
horrible story.
And then his director friend was just like, no, yeah, that's making movies. And he goes, oh, all right, I can do another one.
This is part of the movie?
This is George Miller making Mad Max 1, fucking hating his life.
I
and
thought
then
you
making
said
another one.
Ezra Miller.
No.
He
No,
is
George
fucking-
Miller, much cooler guy.
I would hope.
Way cooler guy.
I
And made
would.
Happy Feet.
I would hope.
And Happy Feet. Who didn't like Happy Feet?
And Babe Pig in the City.
Yes.
I am not in defeat.
And then July
Well.
brings us Deadpool 3 with Wolverine, which is probably going to be the biggest summer movie.
Hugh tells me this will be great.
Oh, yeah. Fucking
Yo, you know Hugh?
Of course.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Pablo Podcasto. Of course he knows Hugh Jackman.
God, Hugh, not to insult anybody on this podcast, Hugh doesn't look so good next to Pablo, right? Like,
We do not.
You can't compare two gorgeous men.
This is very nice of you. To
Come
say,
on.
but It is not true. He is famous.
I love how our review of X-Men turned into just like whose line is it anyway for the last 10 minutes. This is my favorite part of the podcast. Genuinely.
You are very genuine.
Thank you. That was it for TB&J podcast featuring special guest Pablo Podcasto, who, by the way, I fucking love that
It is
character.
a pleasure to meet
We
you.
should
It's a
make
pleasure
a
to meet you. all.
T-shirt with Pablo Podcasto. I'm just imagining like Juandissimo Magnifico, but like bigger, like adult-sized, and not a total prick. But yeah, that was it for this episode of the TB&J podcast. We're coming at you soon with other things. Stay tuned when we broadcast.
it's
Thank
falling
you.
apart. It's
It's great. It's
Went
so
off the
good.
rails.
You are a beautiful, beautiful thing. Your voice is magnificent.
Thank you. Normally at this point, D would like make fun of me and tell me I'm bad at doing the outros of these things, but thank you, Pablo. You're very supportive. I appreciate that about you. Your microphone's off, by the way. I don't know what you did, but you're not saying words.
He doesn't need to. His stare is enough.
Yeah. His stare is just
The
tickling.
stare. Yes. No, it is fine.
That's not.
My levels do not need to be heard.
No. You can feel it.
Feel Pablo. Pablo in the soul.